I showed my passport entering the Bahamas. I got a nice little stamp, and I now visit you. And when I want to leave, the same. And if I want to travel virtually in all the other parts of the world, I have no problem. And so can you. In fact, you can go to some places I'm not allowed to go to by my government. So you can go to Cuba, I'm not allowed to go to Cuba. Government says, yeah, don't go to Cuba. And I'm thinking to myself, why? But that's another matter. That's another matter. I consider that a stupid thing. But, and you see, we take this for granted, this freedom of movement. It's when it's taken away, when a government controls you, has a political form of slavery that it controls your life, your standard of living, where you work, where you live, whether you can travel, what information you'll have access to. You're just another form of a slave. And in these countries in which these uprisings have been occurring in the Middle East, what are they complaining about? At least again, if you watch the news and you see the interviews with people on the streets, or you hear, or you see these summaries of what people leading these resistance movements say they want. They want people to be able to have a better life. They want to be able to have their own choices. They want to be able to talk with whom they want. They want to be able to travel whenever they want. They don't want governments to manipulate, control, and abuse them. Now, those are all, in a sense, variations on the theme of those American founding fathers. They're basically saying in their own words, in their own way, that they think that each person should have a right to his life, his liberty, and some meaning to a pursuit of happiness. Freedom, therefore, is something that all people want. That all people want. It is, in fact, the rallying cry of the entire world now. Now, the lecture is entitled The Moral Foundations of Liberty and Personal Responsibility. The moral foundations. No act is moral unless it is a matter of free choice. No act is moral unless it is a matter of free choice. What do I mean by that? That no act is moral. It is not a matter of free choice. Well, let's suppose that you're standing at a crossroads, and you could go to the left or you could go to the right, one way or the other. Let us suppose that someone is standing over your shoulder, and while you're thinking left or right, he says, you will go left. And you're thinking, well, I might go left, but I really like the chance to maybe go right. No, you're going to go left. Then there is no choice which way he chooses at the crossroads. In fact, then the choice has been denied to him. Well, let us suppose that you are confronted with a situation to act morally or immorally, good or bad, justly or unjustly. Those concepts of right and wrong, good or bad, moral and immoral, just and unjust, have no significance, have no fundamental meaning, independent of an individual having the latitude and the liberty to choose this for himself. If you choose not to steal, if you choose not to kill, if you choose not to defraud, if you choose not in some other way to harm another, it is only a moral act when you have had the option of doing the opposite, to killing, to stealing, to defrauding. Only when a choice is free can we say that it is a moral act. If the government, on the other hand, or someone, on the other hand, restrains you from having to choose, then you're not free. And you're not acting morally. Morality requires the option and the ability to do what is wrong, but set that aside and do what is right. An act is made moral when it is made an act of free choice. For example, is it an ethical thing, a moral thing, to assist people who have fallen upon hard times, charity or philanthropy? Well, it is if it's a matter of choice. If, on the other hand, the government preempts your ability to be charitable and philanthropic by taxing a portion of your income, for instance, and redistributing it to others that they define as needing and deserving in the society, those people may have been helped, but it is not a moral act. If the government says you will pay taxes and the taxes will be used for redistribution of wealth to give to these people, and you were threatened either with imprisonment or some physical harm if you refuse to pay your taxes, then you've not acted in a moral way. In fact, government has prevented you from acting morally. They not only have denied you the choice, but they've taken away the means through which you could have demonstrated a decision to be moral. Your own, whether it's great or small, financial capacity to help another. By taxing that wealth away, and by imposing this compulsory tax rule upon you for this purpose, they in fact have prevented you from being moral. Morality is a choice, or otherwise it's not moral. If a man puts a gun to your head and says you'll act this way, regardless of whether what he has you do is some from higher sense, good or bad, right or wrong, it's not been your choice, and therefore it is not moral. That's another reason why freedom is important. Why? Because now it imposes that other concept in the title of the lecture, personal responsibility. Personal responsibility. A free person then has the burden of deciding what to do. Do I care for a relative who's fallen upon hard times? Or do I try to avoid that responsibility to do other things with my time and my income? Do I have a friend who's fallen into some difficulty? Do I give my time to help my friend, to support them? Or do I not want to be bothered and I ignore it? Freedom requires you to make those choices. It also means that you have to be responsible for your own actions. If you help that relative or you give assistance to that friend, you've made that moral action. If you choose not to, the consequences are partly your fault. You could have done something that you chose not to. But it goes beyond this, is that to be free means to make your own choices. You're here at the College of the Bahamas, okay? I asked a few of you what you're majoring in: economics, finance, banking, a few other majors. Right? Did you choose this yourself? Yes. Okay. So you're choosing to major in a field and show the discipline and the attention to study for those courses and to get a degree. Now, what among the reasons why you've chosen to major in that particular field might be that you hope that when you graduate, there will be an economic opportunity out there. Well, I've majored in banking, a job in the finance sector. Oh, I've majored in marketing, something perhaps in the tourist industry. Oh, I've majored in management. Oh, some company, either Bahamian or foreign, might hire me in a managerial role as a stepping stone right to a good career and advancement and improvement. Or some of you said that you're majoring in economics, of course, the wisest choice. Okay. Because you believe that that will serve as a stepping stone. Now, the fact is, that might not turn out to be true. You know, all of us know that we don't have perfect knowledge. And all of us know that the future is often uncertain. And all of us know that sometimes things don't turn out the way we hope for. It's everyday common sense that all of us know. So guess what? You may make choices here that when you leave here with the major you've chosen, it may not turn out to be the way that you hoped for. Who's responsible for that? Well, partly you. You will have made, again, to speak in those economics terms, an entrepreneurial error. Well, I thought that a banking major would be, you know, the best avenue for a career for myself. Given what I liked, and I found it relatively interesting, and you know, I